Hi, everybody. Maybe it's not the best way to begin meditation. Excuse me, to start coughing. Not the best, but things happen as they do. So welcome to our Morya Federation pre-full moon broadcasts. Maybe this will help just a little bit. Well, the full moon occurs, at least here, it occurs tomorrow, and probably tomorrow for everyone on December 6th. Today is December 5th here. And the GMT, or Universal Time, for the full moon is just a little bit after noon, 12:26 and 43 seconds p.m. So, roughly a half hour after noon time GMT. So you'll do your best to calculate your GMT. When you're not on daylight saving time, it's quite easy to do, and when you're on daylight saving time, generally in the United States and so forth, you have to subtract an hour, and when you are on daylight time in the South Pacific, you generally have to add an hour. Well, I've also put here in the chat, we have a lot of extra sound going on there. Brett, maybe you can find a way to... Very strange sound. Well, the Stymphalian birds, there we go. They've made a lot of racket over those marshes, and a very loud cymbal produced by Athena, given to Hercules by Athena, had to be the method of silencing those raucous birds, which represented thought forms, which killed the wider realizations of consciousness. So it could be just internet noise, but it somehow seems appropriate when we're dealing with this sign Sagittarius, which in the beginning seems to have no control at all over the throat center, and then later has a great deal of control over the throat center, being a sign of silence.
Muted.
Okay.
Unmuted.
Okay, it's very strange. Maybe someone can find out where that extra noise is coming from, if you'd be so kind.
I'm trying.
Brett and Joe. Okay, do your best. Do your best. The Stymphalian birds have had their introduction. They don't need to be with us throughout this whole meditation. Well, okay, and so what I've also done in the chat box tomorrow at the full moon, you can see there in your dashboard, we have an exact full moon meditation service. It starts just about at 11 a.m. GMT. We called it 10:59. The Sabian symbol was better at that time. A large white cross was found there. Okay, and then for those of you who would like to support us in our Finnish Independence Day service, you're welcome to come at this link, and that's going to be more like 2:35 a.m. GMT. If any, I'll tell you what, attendees, do your best not to move around, okay, because we are getting some kind of extraneous noise from someone who's doing a fair bit of moving. It's around the computer, so please do your best not to, just to keep silent around your computer. Okay, and maybe if someone, Joe or Brett, if you could respond to Robert Betts' who is having maybe a little trouble on signing in. He's on a telephone, it appears. Robert, I hope you can find a way, and our technical people will help you with that. Okay. Well, here we go. We're going to look at Sagittarius. It is ruled, as we see, by three planets, Jupiter, the Earth, and Mars. Jupiter is the rulership for the ordinary wheel, although it is a highly sacred planet, and the Earth and Mars are non-sacred planets, but they have the esoteric rulership of Earth and the hierarchical rulership of Mars. I see the goal, I reach that goal, and then I see another, and then see another. So much depends on our spiritual values. What is the goal that we hold before us? Is the goal prompted by desire? Is the goal prompted by an ambitious, inquisitive mind? Is the goal prompted by the soul, the higher ego on the higher mental plane? Or are there still greater planetary goals for each one of us, which are prompted by the spiritual triad, the so-called true ego on the higher monastic, Buddhic, and Atmic planes. So according to our desire nature, according to our aspiration, according to our goals, we will be known by the hierarchy. They will understand what our objectives may be and encourage those objectives which lead to the fulfillment of the divine plan. Jupiter always expands the consciousness, or expands fulfillment in some way, so it depends on your desire nature. The Earth has to do with rendering our planet a sacred planet. At the individualization of man in this particular round and on this particular globe, a long time ago, 21 million years ago, Sagittarius was deeply involved, as was the sign Gemini, one providing the element of the angel, the other providing the element of the man, or the animal. And when we brought the angel and the animal together, we created the fourth kingdom of nature, which was man. So that was the rendering, offering the possibility of rendering the animal sacred. We've all been through the animal evolution and through the animal-man phase, and gradually we are working our way towards the angelic kingdom, which at least the infusion of solar angelic qualities will be with us totally at the fourth initiation. And the Earth, too, is still a non-sacred planet. Inwardly, the Tibetan master tells us that it is a sacred planet, but outwardly not. And we have to work towards the sacredness of Earth, and Sagittarius provides the orientation on the path of cosmic spirituality, which will render the Earth sacred. Sagittarius is one of those signs that is particularly associated with the first and second initiation, and also much later with the sixth degree, which gives us our orientation towards cosmic destinations. Finally, when it comes to Mars, we have a planet, again a non-sacred planet, even less sacred than the Earth, but Mars stimulates the aspirational nature. And aspiration is a method, a sanctioned method of transformation. It's not just an emotional attitude. And when the lunar vehicles within our nature aspire sufficiently, they move on their path towards a higher type of attainment. And that's what we all have to do. We have these warring lunar vehicles in our nature, and they usually pull in an opposite direction from our soul intention. As St. Paul advised us, in Scorpio. He was a Scorpio. But then there's this reorientation of the lunar vehicles towards a higher possibility. And Mars gives that type of aspiration, which will eventually elevate the entire lower nature of man and render it subject to the solar angel and to his higher ego. Well, that's a little bit on Sagittarius as a whole. Over here we see we see a diagram, a kind of a illustration of the aspiring centaur. Of course, Sagittarius is many things. It's not just the animal and the man, it's the bow and the arrow, and finally it's just the arrow altogether. It is the aspiration which finally evokes the intuition. The Sagittarian people, you know, they seek after the truth. They go beyond the possible truth in their local ring pass knot, and they pierce through the next ring pass knot. They go beyond the local horizon, and they find ever wider examples and deeper examples of the truth. Perhaps that's what this hermit is all about here in this image. It's like the Greek philosopher who carried a lantern during the day. Was it Diogenes? I'm not remembering exactly, but he carried a lantern during the day looking for an honest man. Well, there's such a great respect for truth in the Sagittarian Sagittarian theme. So we as students of spirituality who are aspiring to live the life of the soul, you know, we have to build the Rainbow Bridge. We have to build what's called the Antakarana. And we do that through a factor called intention, visualization, and finally then projection. And we project a line of lighted, a beam of white light across the Antakarana bridge towards the spiritual triad of our system, which is planetary mind, planetary heart, planetary will. And we can see how much Sagittarius is involved with this type of projection. The projection across that gap in consciousness, which has to be filled by the line of light. Well, there's a lot to say about that. Suffice it to say, the solar angel, our tutelary deity, helps with this process in general. So I see the goal, I reach that goal, and then I see another. Francis Darnold has provided us with some images here. Let's see if I can get that up here. Yeah, here is the Sagittarian archer. He's shooting across the swamp of Kama Manas. You know, we all have to live through this desire-tinged mind. It's not really clear thinking. It's mind far too much affected by the solar plexus. But if we have the keen arrow of aspiration and we aim for the mountaintop of initiation, we can, let's say we can reach that much higher perspective, and in the meanwhile, we banish the Stymphalian birds. Now, there are some very high meanings of the Stymphalian birds because there's an angelic area among the constellations where we have some amazing constellations which have the bird imagery. We have the falling falcon in Sagittarius. We have the eagle in the last decanate of Capricorn, and we have the swan, the Hamsa, the bird out of time and space, representing surely the initiate consciousness which has overcome all illusions. But those are not the birds we're talking about. We're talking about much lower reflections down in our personality, and these are ill-conceived thought forms. And these thought forms have to be banished if we're ever to see the light of reality. But you can see this beautiful glow on the distant mountaintop of initiation, and that is what the Sagittarian archer is aiming for. And if he shoots far enough, the response will be the arrow of intuition, which will return because of the arrow of aspiration. So Sagittarius isn't quite there yet, shall we say. It's riding on the level plane toward the mountaintop of initiation. Of course, later it has higher meanings as well, and it is particularly related both to the higher manas, the higher mind, the abstract mind, and to the Buddhic realm, the realm of intuition. But, of course, we have to achieve a certain degree of soul consciousness before that is possible. And here is another one of Francis's images. where he talks about the genesis of a thought form. And we have here sort of a replication of the human aura. The great light of Buddhi is coming down from a higher sphere, and it's an idea is descending and becoming a thought. Of course, as it does that, it goes through a certain degradation. The great idea of the Buddhic plane has to descend to the higher, to the higher mind and to the soul mind, and become a thought form. And it does that in this area, and creates eventually a pool of ripples on the astral plane and a fragmented shadow on the mental plane, on the physical plane. So we have the idol down here, and we have the ideal, ever and higher ideal, because on the plane of soul, ideals also exist. Master DK frequently talks about the idealism of the soul. And then finally, the great idea that's found on the Buddhic plane and on planes beyond that, because we cannot say that the only plane of ideas is the Buddhic plane. But let us just say that Sagittarius is a sign which really connects us with ideas, and ideas, as we realize, are living beings. Now, of course, in a certain sense, every one of us who are projections of the one infinite being, we are kind of extensions of the one infinite being, every one of us is really essentially an idea. At least that's how we work out. We're a certain part of the purpose of God. We're a certain part of the identity of God. And when I say God, you know, it can mean so many different things, but ultimately it means the absolute deity. And we are that too, although it will take a long time, I suppose, to identify with that and realize that to be the case. Now, you know, Francis has some marvelous, I'm just going to go slowly down here so that if you get the video here, you'll be able to freeze it and to read what he has said. I love this idea of the flame that gleams beyond the mind. This is from the Labors of Hercules. And Sagittarius, while it does certainly rule the questing mind, it also rules the flame of intuition that gleams beyond the mind. He talks here about the sacred geometry of Sagittarius, and I would certainly advise you to pick up Francis Donald's Sacred Geometry series of webinars. You can find the videos that have already been made on the Makara website, makara.us, and he's continuing with the series. So go to the Morya Federation website, www.moryafederation.com, and you can find his presentations. We have some wonderful webinars coming out from our faculty. So here is a discussion of ideas and thought forms, the genesis of an idea. Just freeze your screen. I suppose you can read this, and then let's see, maybe a little bit more. The sign of silence. Sagittarius is called in some ancient books the sign of silence, for that is the lesson of Sagittarius, restraint of speech and control of thought. Sagittarius is also the controller of the gate, the keeper of the gate, and so you can see he stands for the master. Oftentimes I read what Francis has said, but I think I've given the general idea. The Stymphalian birds have to be banished. The great symbol of symbol, you know, it's a C-Y-M-B-A-L. It's the kind of symbol you have in an orchestra. Athena gave this symbol to Hercules. He crashed the symbol and produced a sound that was so much about synthesis, let us say, this is my interpretation anyway, that it was, as Francis says, intolerable to the thought form making faculty which was responding to lower desire and so forth. Then a silence came, and in that silence the intuition can descend. Okay, friends, I think we're just about there. We can begin our meditation. And we have a chance to intensify these our meditative work. We're We're in the period now, I think, well, we're ending the day of dedication. We're about 12 hours before, well, maybe a little more than 12 hours. We're still in the day of dedication, the dedicated mind. And we're about 12 hours before the actual full moon, maybe 15 hours actually. And then will come this day of reception and safeguarding. And we should use that in quite a sincere manner, which allows us to become ever more focused on the particular astrological energy which is available at this time. These are real energies. And you know, when it comes to building the causal body, the augades, you know, our vehicle on the higher mental plane, we build it. One of the ways we build it is through building in the astrological energies which are particularly available at the time of the full moon. So certain planetary energies, ray energies, and generally zodiacal energies are available at the time of the full moon. And when we learn how really to use them, how really to express them, then we are able to build in those qualities in the causal body which are correlated with those energies. And I've gone a lot into this in my video series on the egoic lotus, where each one of the petals of the egoic lotus is discussed in terms of its astrology and rayology. And basically, if you learn how to use those energies, you are building up your inner capacity in the sense of soul capacity on the higher mental plane. And we all have to do that. We all have to build our inner consciousness and our inner soul abilities. Okay. So now we can begin to work in meditation after all those words, you know, Sagittarius being the sign of silence. We will enter a more silent mode. So we all link up with each other. We have almost 70 of us now together, and we're all over the world. And we withdraw our consciousness from the personality and its vehicles, and we try to enter deeply into the presence of the soul. Our higher self, or one of our higher selves anyway, a certain state of consciousness that we maintain on the higher mental plane with continuity, but can the personality understand that continuity in the personality, mind, and brain? That's the question. So we withdraw inwardly. We know we are the observer of the personality, which is not the real self at all, it's our instrument. And we sort of negate the intrusion of our physical apparatus and of our feeling nature in the lower sense, and of any thought forms from the concrete mind which may be disturbing our more contemplative attitude. And we find ourselves slipping into the sense of soul, into the light of the soul, the revelatory light of the soul, the impersonal love through which we reach out to each other and realize ourselves as souls, as a unity. And animated by that sacrificial will of the soul, which seeks to do anything necessary to bring the divine plan into expression. And we find ourselves then, as it were, at least imaginatively, within the causal body and reaching out to each other as if the plane of our focus is the higher mental plane. And we feel a certain union in soul together, regardless of our personality distinctions and locations. And we feel ourselves merging into the group soul. The soul is really one consciousness. There is only one soul in all the universe, one multifarious consciousness. And all of us are little tiny apertures of that one all-seeing eye. We are one being together, and we are one consciousness, and consciousness is a fluid something which can merge all the apparently separated consciousnesses. So we merge in consciousness with each other. We reach out in soul to the members of the new group of world servers who are doing all they can in many different countries to live the life of the soul. We reach out to them in soul. Wherever these people of some spiritual attainment and love of their fellow human beings are working, we feel at one with them. And the many, many thousands, hundreds of thousands of men and women of goodwill everywhere, we reach out to them not so much as personalities but as souls, feeling a great unity of those who will to do good. And express that will to good as goodwill, as the Tibetan has told us, love in action. Blending the second aspect of love and the third aspect of action, and all inspired by the first aspect, the will to good. We merge with these helpers of humanity. And in fact, we begin to feel the one soul of all humanity. It is but one soul. And we realize essentially there is no my soul or thy soul, but only the one consciousness of humanity, which is itself part of a much greater consciousness. And if we can, something of that marvelous mantram, the second ray mantram, naught is but me. Naught is but me. It's amazing mantram. When you take in the mineral kingdom and the vegetable, animal, the human kingdom, of course, and the angelic kingdoms, and the various creative hierarchies and so forth, naught is but me. And if we can realize something of that, we really are meditating as a soul and not simply as an aspiring personality. It's the will of the soul that begins to infuse our collective point of tension on the mental plane, on the fourth subplane of the mental plane, where the personality finds its integration. We are infused, that point of tension from which we build the rainbow bridge is infused by the will to initiate, the will to unify. These are all the ray aspects of the will to evolve, the will to harmonize, the will to act, the will to cause, and the will to express. The 7 ray aspects of the will. It strengthens our point of tension together that we are building on the mental plane. And symbolically, we use our creative imagination to reach up. It's not really up. It's a vibratory change. But in visualization, we have to use space to a degree, so we reach up towards the monastic permanent atom and see each one of us a rainbow bridge of 2 colors connecting our point of mental focus on the concrete levels of the mind with the spiritual triad. And these 2 colors will correlate with our personality ray and our soul ray. Red for the first ray, indigo for the second, green for the third, yellow for the fourth, orange is one of the colors for the 5th ray, silvery rose for the 6th ray, or light blue, and violet for the 7th ray. So a bridge of 2 colors, and try to feel into those colors, what they mean to you in a ray sense. And this imaginary bridge, this bridge of light, not as imaginary to us perhaps, but real in its own way, it reaches into the triad, at least imaginatively, touching the Buddhic permanent atom, which sponsors the plane of intuition, the intuitional vehicle, later to be organized. And it extends to the Atmic permanent atom, the place of spiritual will, and eventually, at least imaginatively, reaches that point of being, which we call the monad. We can visualize it as a blue-white diamond. We're penetrating into the temple of Ezekiel, as it is called in occultism, the place of being, where we are a unit of life, not only of consciousness or activity. So the colors of your bridge blend with the colors of all the others who are meditating now with us. You can form a kind of funnel, a kind of cone, ending in the blue-white diamond, kind of funnel. Or you can go inwardly to the center of the sphere. It depends on how you want to imagine, but let's just dwell in the silence for a moment as we visualize the group rainbow bridge, all the colors of the rainbow. Allowing us to access, as a group, these higher realms of being. But we're going to use a word of power. There are 7 words of power, but we'll use the great second ray word of power, as it is fundamental to our planet and solar system. It is, as you know, I see the greatest light. It is ultimately the unfettered enlightenment of Shambhala, ultimately. We're going to imagine we project a vivid beam of radiant light across the group Antakarana, each projecting across his own Antakarana until it anchors in the triad and finally anchors in the monad itself, in the sense of being. We'll sound an Om on a second ray note, the G, as we think inwardly as we project, I see the greatest light. We'll do it 3 times. So outwardly you sound the Om, inwardly together, I see the greatest light. This is the light we seek, coming from the triad and monad, when we attempt to understand these extraplanetary and cosmic energies. And when we go forth to the Father comes forth to us. That's a reciprocal response, and we hold this alignment during our work together. It's a group alignment, and we seek group impression. It's more than individual impression. The great ones, the masters of the wisdom, they work or find their center of focus on triadal levels. Many of the ashrams on the Buddhic levels now. Not all, but many. And especially the second ray ashram is there found. We're going to join our elder brothers in imagination, offering our salutations to the great Lord, the world teacher, Maitreya, the Christ, and to others of the masters with whom we seek to work creatively and selflessly, and we offer our willingness through these salutations to stand with them. Their abode, their point of tension is on levels that we seek to achieve. We're only seekers in this respect, but as we affiliate with these great elder beings, our point of tension rises. So we begin Our salutations with heartfelt gratitude to the Masters and to the head of the hierarchy, the Christ, Lord Maitreya. Salutations to the Christ, the Master of all Masters, the teacher alike of angels and of men. Salutations to the triangle of masters with whom we work most closely. Salutations to the Master Morya, the head of all esoteric schools and organizations. Salutations to the Master Kutumi, whose ashram is most active in preparation for the reappearance of Lord Maitreya the Christ, and who will be the Bodhisattva of the age of Capricorn, maybe 2,500 years ahead. Salutations to the Master Jwal Kul, Master DK, who's given us not only the Alice Bailey books, but works so closely with Madame Blavatsky on the Secret Doctrine, and he works with all aspirants to initiation. Salutations to your own master, the master of the ashram in which you find yourself or which you are approaching. Salutations to the entire spiritual hierarchy of our planet. We sustain this point of tension, in fact attempting to increase it imaginatively as we reach out in imagination as a group to the center where the will of God is known. which we call Shambhala, and identified as a group, we seek to attune to the presence of Sanat Kumara, or some attenuation of that presence, the great Lord of the world, the Lord of Venusian love, the King of Shambhala. And inwardly we sound a long, silent Om as we imagine the group, and really all groups of well-meaning aspirants and disciples and initiates imbued with his energy, the energy of purpose, the long, silent, interior Om. And as we carry out this meditation, we attempt to keep our alignment with the highest aspect of ourselves, which is focused as a monad within Shambhala. We are both monad in extension, the jiva that has gone forth, but we are also the monad pure being that has never left the realm of pure being, and that is a paradox to be solved. So we have this high alignment, a kind of planetary alignment, which will guide our thoughts as a group and enlighten us. We are as if a point of brilliant light. The group is not a collection of vehicles. It's a point, a brilliant light of eternal love and of being. We are that point, and as we often do, we have this visualization. We see a pathway of light, a golden pathway, Master DK tells us, leading to the center of an indigo sun. Our logos is called the blue logos. That color really is indigo. It leads to the center of the indigo sun, a golden pathway. And we, that point of light, love, and power, hovering above the golden pathway, which retracts and retracts, shortening, leading us all into the indigo sun. And we spend a moment to feel the depth of the color indigo and this great sun of love, wisdom. And it is in this indigo sun that we attempt to feel the presence of the Master DK, his consciousness, as if being the expert in planetary and cosmic and hierarchical energies as he is, he will serve somewhat as our guide, and we seek to become outposts as a group of his consciousness, outposts of his consciousness. So the thinking and realization that is within his consciousness seeps into ours, and we can expand our understanding of the available energies and how we can use them. So for a moment we seek as a group to constitute ourselves as an outpost of the Master DK's consciousness. Because we will now be considering the planets which rule Sagittarius. Together we will be considering Jupiter, the exoteric ruler, which will convey to us and all a vision of ever-expanding horizons and the enthusiastic motivation to move beyond and through the limitations of our present ring past knot. We will be considering the Earth, our Earth scheme, and especially our Earth globe, where our life is presently focused. The esoteric ruler, conveying the realization that our planetary sphere must be spiritually enlivened until it becomes outwardly the sacred planet it is inwardly. Our beautiful Earth as seen from space, the blue-green planet, the second-ray, third-ray planet, and eventually a first-ray planet. Sagittarius and the Earth. And we will be considering Mars, the red planet or the red-orange planet, the hierarchical ruler, conveying the power, the strength, the zeal to redirect and elevate the tendency of all the lunar lords, elevate their tendency through the power of aspiration. We will be considering these three. So you know somewhat what they, I think you know what they look like, you know. Here, Jupiter and the Earth and Mars, so you can visualize them when we are pondering more deeply upon them. And that's what we'll do first with Jupiter. It almost looks like the letter 4, like the number 4. It's a center of quadruple force units, a great palace of opulence and magical fulfillment, as DK has given us in the description of the schools found thereon. So we ponder together as if this sort of indigo Jupiter is before us. On Jupiter, we extend our vision of the truth and reality, the power of Jupiter to expand our consciousness and to embrace an ever wider ring past knot in our personality, in our causal body, eventually in our monadic sphere, ruled somewhat by Jupiter. Power to expand, ensuring us through positivity of beneficial growth and eventual fulfillment. We realize the growing sense of wholeness which Jupiter confers. It's a great second ray planet, and so many of us, one way or another, are on the second ray, giving us that great optimism that we will grow into ever greater spheres until one day the universe itself becomes our sphere, our vehicle. We can feel the quality and power of the Jupiterian energies now especially available entering our group, and the many serving groups, expanding our consciousness, expanding our joy, our intuition of all that is fulfilling. We open our group to the Jupiterian energy. It flows in. Our group life is then more supported by Jupiter. And there are also places in the world which need this energy. We'll direct that later, but now we feel our group to be enhanced by the quality of Jupiter. I'll sound a second ray note and we can visualize ourselves imbued by these divine qualities, which we share together with our group, with our groups, with all humanity. An Om. Had more of Jupiter in our lives would be much more joyous, and we would be more effective, inspiring servers. So we absorb, and share. And then we move on to a consideration of our beautiful blue-green planet, the Earth, and really it's far greater than just one globe, 49 globes, maybe 70 globes of different types of matter. But for the moment, our Earth globe, in which for lives to come we will take our incarnations just as we have in the past, the long, long past of millions of years. So we'll ponder together on our own little planet and its power, the power of our planetary logos, to redeem the etheric physical nature of not only human beings, but of all kingdoms and of our own planetary globe, eventually transforming the etheric physical nature, the etheric nature especially of our planet, into a system of triangles, as we have been told. So we feel the ethers of our planet being revitalized, and our own ethers revitalized, disengaging these ethers from the retrogressive lunar tendencies, whatever pulls us backward. And through the influence conveyed by the planetary logos, we realize our individual and group capacity to tread the path which leads to the energetic glorification of our planet until it becomes a sacred planet. The earth, a sacred heavenly temple. A sacred lighted sphere in which spirit finds its embodiment in spiritually regenerated matter. We ponder the sacredness of our planet impending. It may be a long time, but short time in the history of the earth, long time for us, and our own impending sacredness as individuals and as groups, the glorification of the ethers, the glorification of all the matter inherited from the previous solar system, the uprising of the substance of the earth. So all of us as disciples are in the business of helping the earth become outwardly the sacred planet it is. We all have a job to do, however humble that job may seem. If we talk to one person effectively so that their life is transformed, we've done something. Whoever we help, whatever kingdom we help, we've done something. So keep that vision of the divine plan for earth in your mind. Because that's our field of service. The earth is a field of service. And we open our group and groups to the energy of the hierarchy, Shambhala, the planetary logos. Of course, not felt fully, but in some attenuated manner, it comes through to us as if we become true servers of the earth, true servers of the logos. Monadically, we are part of the logos, so out here in our personal form, helping in these lower spheres. And we absorb this energy. I'm going to use the note G again because the soul ray of our planetary logos is the second. One can use other notes, but I'll emphasize the blue note, G. And we absorb the energy into our group and groups. And no matter how high our thoughts may range, we are serving right here and now upon the earth and within this planetary chain and scheme. Finally, we turn to the hierarchical ruler, Mars, the red planet or the red-orange planet. We consider Mars as the planet stimulating the power of aspiration until aspiration becomes transmutation and spiritual elevation in each of us, in our groups, in humanity as a whole. There are no malefic planets, you know, in astrology. Sometimes Saturn and Mars are considered malefic. They are great gods. And though not yet sacred, that is Mars, not yet sacred, from the cosmic point of view, they are indeed sacred for us. So we realize Mars as the planet driving the quest for ever new experiences of a reality beyond the present ring past knot of consciousness through the elevatory immolation of the lunar nature. The lunar lords are set on fire, on blaze, and they are transmuted until they become more Davic and less elemental. The potency of Mars impelling towards the treading of the way of higher evolution, eventually. The potency of Mars leading the outward-bound monad towards its truer home in those distant constellations which form the chakras of our local, one about whom naught may be said, a super constellational logos, and Mars is going forth, giving us the courage always to break through the next ring past knot. Power of Mars to make us strong. We need to be that way. Courageous. So this power of courage comes into the group and groups. We feel ourselves imbued with it, by it. And we'll sound the Om, seeing this happen in our groups. We'll sound it on the red note, the note C, so often by true composers of music considered to be the red note. We'll sound the C on the Om, feeling our groups imbued with strength, courage, fortitude, the ability to initiate, to go forth, and feel it within ourselves, because we do need it. We do need it. Courage, glorification, expansion. Mars, the Earth, Jupiter. Real deities, aspects of our solar logos, real energies, here and now, present. We can approach and take them in and build our causal body into greater expansions of consciousness and greater soul expression. But we move still onward as outposts of the consciousness of Master Decay as much as we can. And we think of the glorious sun, a vehicle of our solar god, the blue logos, expressing through our solar system the god of love wisdom, a great heart center in a cosmic logos. All of us, whatever our rays may be, we are in this solar system units of love wisdom. But at the heart of every atom is the quality of buddhi, we have been told. So the Solar Logos pours through all planets and all kingdoms, through every monad, soul, and personality. When you're looking at the sun, you're staring at a vehicle of the Solar Logos, a great etheric powerhouse representing a cosmic Lord of love, wisdom. We are in that. We live in this cosmic Lord of love, wisdom, our Solar Logos. It's more than just the sun, as magnificent as that is. And so we feel ourselves through our imagination, or however we can, as units in the blue logos, as imbued with a great heart, as great as that being is, we can touch a little something and feel ourselves filled in our heart center, within the head, feel ourselves filled with as much love wisdom as our capacity will allow. And we'll think of this filling, as we sound on the blue note again, the Om. Under Sagittarius, a vision of the meaning of the scope of the great blue logos. But on we go towards the constellation Sagittarius. It is brilliant in the sky. It's one of the more lustrous constellations, especially here in the north. In the winter sky, maybe it's different in the south. And its quality of light, we can relate to this, a beam of directed, focused light. It is the point of light. In this, the point of light becomes the beam. The point of light becomes the beam. When the monad went forth, the Sagittarian energy was there, and when the solar angels shot forth to individualize animal man, Sagittarius was there. In this, the point of light becomes the beam, revealing a greater light ahead and illumining the way to the center of the light. Our destiny is ever more illumined light, and our planetary sphere is to become a great station of light, we are told. Thus it is for the whole planetary scheme. A great station of light. So we open ourselves to the feel of the energy quality of Sagittarius, attempting to realize its profound relationship to the fourth ray of harmony through conflict. It did create the fourth kingdom with Gemini, humanity. It's the great ray of discovery, the fifth ray, and also the sixth ray of devotion and idealism, the strongest ray at this time, manifesting through the Lord of the constellation Sagittarius. The field Sagittarius, that's what we want to intensify, so that we're really imbued with this energy. It seems a long way away, but in consciousness and in energy, it's right here. We live in this great being called the One about whom naught may be said, a super constellation of Logos, and Sagittarius is one of the 12 petals in the heart, within the head of that great being, the One about whom naught may be said. And so now, friends, we enter our silent meditation on the wonderful progressive mantram that as disciples we all need, because the one-pointed disciple is ruled by Sagittarius. And so we ponder very deeply in the silence. I see the goal. I reach that goal. And then I see another. I see the goal. I reach that goal. And then I see another. I see the goal. I reach that goal. And then I see another. We all have our goals. What is the real spiritual goal before each of us, before each of our groups? One great goal that is remote is the sacredness of this planet, but leading to that, to which we all must bend every effort in this period of the Advent, is the externalization of the hierarchy and the reappearance of the Christ. If our individual and group goals facilitate that, they are on target, to use Sagittarian terminology. I see the goal, I reach that goal, and then I see another. So let your contemplation of these words increase as we move towards the full moon in another 14 hours or so. It all comes from the Pleiades, as far as our local one about whom naught may be said is concerned. And it travels through great constellations. Maybe the Centaur is one in this case. It certainly travels through Sagittarius and into our local 7 solar systems and into our blue logos, our solar logos, and into all of our planets, but especially Jupiter and Mars and the Earth, and through every monad, soul and personality, through Shambhala, through hierarchy, through humanity. These great energies conveying the 4th, 5th, and 6th ray, they travel and they inspire and uplift all of us if we can respond. We are in the flood of energy from Sagittarius. And this energy is real. It works on all our vehicles. It works through our soul. And when we speak and when we think and when we act, this energy, rightly directed, should appear through our words, through our thinking, through our actions. And it is a redemptive energy. So look out in the world and see a place. There are so many places, but see a place where the vision, a higher vision, is really needed. and what that vision could do, how it could uplift a difficult, stressed, conflicted situation if it were absorbed, if the vision were absorbed. And what we're going to do, each one will have his own vision of a place which needs the redemptive quality of the Sagittarian energy, and we will sound the Om 3 times, and you will direct in your imagination the Sagittarian energy into that place of conflict, of stress, and with it the energies of Jupiter and even our Earth and Mars, and see improvement occurring. See in your mind's eye improvement occurring. We'll sound 3 times the Om. If you want to sound a mantram, either the Sagittarian mantram or your own mantram, to facilitate this process of improvement, then do so inwardly as you sound the Om with your voice. So stay in these energies. Live with them for hours to come and for the days of distribution. And together we will sound the great invocation. Imagining the light, love, and power of the greater beings projected into humanity, this great word of power released from Shambhala in 1945, this world prayer, we project it into the consciousness of humanity. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you, friends, for being here for meditation. Keep your point of tension going until the moment of the full moon, 12:26 and 43 seconds p.m. GMT, and we have also in your chat box the addresses for our exact full moon service meditation, which my wife Tuya will be presenting tomorrow at 10:59 a.m. GMT. And also, if you are of a mind to support us in our meditation for Finland Independence Day, you are welcome to join. We also have here in your chat box an address which you can copy and join us. It will be also in English and Finnish, both. Thank you very much for joining, and have a wonderful Sagittarius meditation wherever you may be performing it. And hold that point of tension. I see the goal, I reach that goal, and then I see another. May our goals be worthy in the sight of hierarchy. So, farewell for now, and we'll see some of you, I suppose, tomorrow at the exact moment of the full moon. I'll keep you in the mind's eye. All the best to you, and thank you for being here. Bye-bye.